Hello, everyone. It is podcast time. Here is Express It Here. And this will be the last podcast before Donald Trump takes office. I am your hostess, Kim Beatrice Schmidt. This is our fourth edition, fourth episode. Today, the topics are going to be what kind of a life are we going to have when President Trump runs this country? We need to talk a little bit about that. He is, I would say, the anti climate president of our modern times. While we did have deniers in the White House prior to him, we never had anybody that would deny it with such audacity. And I do want to say that the man basically tells lies until the public believes it. And there are enough gullible people out there that don't inform themselves in a deep and meaningful manner that will actually believe the rhetoric. Now, I'm not saying that there's not rhetoric on both sides, but I have to say that there's a lot more lying going on over on the right side. So, there's another thing that I want to discuss today. It came up recently. I was listening to a broadcast myself, and that is the dangerous climate for our young people that we now know. I mean, us parents that had the kids that, like, we are like the guinea pigs, right? With the social media platforms, we now know how harmful they are. And something that I've watched in my 6+ decades on the planet is that people are completely bought into this thing about how important image is. It is incredibly ridiculous, okay? Because here you're catering to a populace, a young populace that is already extremely impressionable and has issues, as they're coming into their own and they're, realizing who they are as people in the world. Your self-image of yourself, who you are, that changes constantly, like who you're becoming. And so it's become now so important to have these media things, but there's a particular specific types of incident that I want to discuss a little bit down the road here. And now I want to also discuss today about values. I want to go back to the wonderful environmental symposium that was put on November 21 and 22 by the Salish Kootenai Confederated Tribe. I joined that symposium for both days. The second day I went to mainly go and see the author Barbara Wall Kimmerer that wrote the book Braiding Sweetgrass. And one of her biggest messages to us during the symposium and her talk to us was that we absolutely must change the values that we hold in this life. And while we don't have enough time to get this communicated to the young people, we have to start. We have to start because the values that we're communicating is, as we know, and we become adults, we've known this, but it's so dangerous now because that's all there really is out in the world, is that money isn't everything, okay? Fame isn't everything. It is the character that you are. What can you actually do? What are your skills? How kind are you? What can you do to cooperate? What are you doing to make the world a better place? What are you doing to find out who you are other than worrying about what you look like? Nobody cares. I don't even know half of these celebrities. And a lot of times I think, oh, I'm really stupid. I don't know. And then I remind myself, I don't really care about who's famous. It's about who does good things in the world that we need to care about. And that's what we need to communicate to our students as well. And the other thing that's become incredibly clear to me in the last couple of decades is that to hide something from young people is ridiculous. It is the absolute wrong thing to do. Yes, of course we have to have age appropriate material, but children, they want to know the truth, and let me tell you what, they know when you're not telling them the truth, and they will figure it out, and they will try to make sure you tell them the truth. They're going to keep asking you questions. So just wanted to look at my little list here. I am going to hopefully be in the school this week a little bit later to put the poster out to see who wants to maybe join the environmental club. I've made contact with the professor there, the teacher, and I hope that we can go out in the community and do, bring some awareness about the plastic issue. So that's what I want to say for now. And one more thing, I want to also talk in this podcast about Families for a Livable Climate. That is such a super valuable group. I'm going to be sharing their link with you here on this podcast. And I want to have that group be kind of like the base line for us, because they're already doing what I'm trying to do. I'm just basically a channel that's trying to put together all these different organizations, or if there are projects, around the lake, or environmental types of projects that require environmental review or public input. That's what I want to stimulate in the community. It's not like I'm doing anything new. I'm just trying to pull us all together with these topics. And really, this is not supposed to be a political forum. I know it sounds like it sometimes when I talk, but I'm really talking about human values, things that we all value. We all want a planet that's healthy and livable, and that's what this group does. And so I will be referring to them a lot. There's a really cool event coming up at the Capitol. I participated in 22, and I'm going to be back again this year. January 24th will be a Climate Action Day at the Capitol, and I'll discuss more about that as the podcast rolls on. So that's my introduction. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about our crisis here at home, which are the wildfires in California. This is unprecedented, and we've had lots of wildfires over the last few years there. This is like something we've never seen before, and there will be more of these things. This is just sadly the beginning, and I'm not trying to be like, negative here, but it's what we are basically harvesting and what we've been putting out, and this is what we're going to get now. And that's why we have to work so awful fast to try to make things better, because it's going to still take decades for things to really turn, although we'll see some good things if we start really doing things on a large scale as far as doing sustainable types of, actions. We had North Carolina. We've had several years with wildfires in California. And really, I want to discuss where this is going, what nobody wants to talk about, and that is we're going bankrupt as a country. How many more of these events do you actually think that we can have without it affecting the national budget, which it already is? All of these things that the government is supposed to fix, well, you know what? They're not going to be able to anymore after a while. They're already talking about, Florida already has uninsurable property. So how does that make the value of your house now? Who wants to buy a house that they can't insure that might just be gone next year because of a big hurricane? What about a fire? This is all, things are all going to really change people. They're really going to change, especially with the new administration coming in, who's not very, I don't think they're very humanitarian or very kind. What did he do? He threw paper towels to the Puerto Rican people, and then he had the gall, Trump, I'm talking about Trump, yeah. Then he had the gall to talk about the Puerto Rican people as dirty when he was discussing a situation earlier here this last year, I guess it was, when there were issues over there. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. Like 10 years ago, you didn't think that we're ever going to come to a place like this in our lives. So I really want you to think about this. I want you to think about your own lives, what you're going to do, with your own homes. We've experienced wildfires here in Montana. We've had our share for sure every year. This is a thing now. So, I mean, it will not be possible for this country to continue absorbing all of these man-made disasters. They're not natural disasters. These are man-made disasters. So, anyway, I just find it extremely concerning. And I wanted to share a book with you. I can't see it right now, so I'm going to stop the recording for just a second and bring it out. So this is the book. It's called The Uninhabitable Earth, and it's Life After Warming. And it was written by an investigative journalist by the name of David Wallace Wells. It published in 2019. And if you are interested to see how he researched, he has hundreds of scientific sources. This is very well written, and he tells you just what we can expect in the years to come if we're staying on the trajectory that we are. And as you know, a lot of these projections often are much worse than they are projected to be. In fact, the scientists often find out whatever they thought would be, happening in 5 or 10 years with the ice, for example, melting. It's twice as bad, uh, so I want to shift gears a little bit now, and I want to just entertain a little bit of a discussion about this whole situation with our new incoming president and the fact that he's even able to be our president because he was convicted as a felon. And Jack Smith, the prosecuting attorney on those cases and all those convictions, had a very airtight case. And the whole time we're sitting here going, well, they're delaying it again, and so now then he's going to be able to be president. He'll still be able to go into office. And here, this whole time, we know that this is wrong, and we're going along with it because the system requires it. Something is wrong here. We really shouldn't have somebody who is that poor of a character and has that little integrity or what do you call it? Honesty to do decent deals with people and be, real about what he's talking about. I mean, we all know he's guilty. He's a felon, and we're going to allow him to go into office now because of all the delays. Which why couldn't that have been helped somehow? What's wrong with our system so that we couldn't fix that? Something here is wrong. Okay, and what is it? Is it because he was able to appoint all those Supreme Court judges and now we have no way out of there because they're gonna side with him? But no, it was the tactics of delay that his team would always appeal these cases. He shouldn't have been allowed to appeal them. But then, you have that problem because you're saying, well, other people could appeal it, so he could appeal it. But in this case, I have to say that if we're trying to decide who is going to be our president, and we know he's guilty, we all know it. We all know it. Even the people that don't want to admit it know it. And they just like the fact that some guy like this, who's a big liar and really bad humanitarian type of person, is going to just be able to come in and just cause all these problems. I am very upset about this, that our system has no safety valves here. And Jack Smith did a wonderful job. So I just want to say thank you, Jack. And history will come back to this point and will give him his due credit. So that's what I have to say. I have to cry about that. Yeah, I'm crying about it because it's wrong and we all know it and we all let it happen. So aren't there some people in law that can do something about this? But then nobody wants to lose their job, so they're all just going to be quiet. I'm actually really glad I'm not in a position anymore where anybody could take my job. I work for myself now, and it took a long time to get to this point, but it's just wrong. Okay, so next topic. I was listening to Montana Public Radio this morning, or it was early afternoon, and here comes a show, a podcast about what they talked about. Just really made me listen. And what it was about social media platforms. This is the worst kind of attention getting yet, people. Listen to this. This is what's happening in schools. The kids now are doing, fabricating problems and fights so that they can get a lot of views online. They set up these fights, they fabricate them, and then they tell other classmates by airdropping so that the school can't see what's going on the social media platforms. Hey, there's going to be fight out back at 4:00. Be there if you want to see some action, Horrible. exploiting other people's safety and with violent behavior, and that is supposed to be good because you're getting views. I mean, how nuts can you be? Let's please take these teachers, please go and talk to your students about this in the classroom. I don't care if it's not your topic. Just make it a topic because it needs to be heard by the young people. This is wrong. The values and everything that we've been teaching are all over the place. And this is wrong, and we all know it. So I just want to say to all the educators out there, this is happening. Okay, everybody. So this is Kim Schmidt, and this is the end of the podcast today, the end of the 4th podcast. And I will post my social media information at the end of the podcast. And I'm going to also put the homepage for Families for a Livable Climate, as well as their web page information, and also a print screen capture of the event that is happening on the 24th at the Capitol, as well as 2 other ones that are upcoming. So thanks again. This is Kim Schmidt, your hostess, and I hope to see you next time, which will be in a week from today. Every Thursday afternoon around 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time is when I'm going to try to have my episodes done for you. Thank you very much. Till next time.